I'm going to talk about this odd combination that we tend to have. We tend to get demoralized in our society for a variety of reasons. Chief among them tends to be this constant comparison we tend to do. We tend to think that we're not good enough, the average person. And it reminds me of a line from an Our Lady Peace song called Superman's Dead, where the line goes, "Ordinary boy, ordinary name, but ordinary is just not good enough today." And given the beauty of 2020 and 2021 in the sense that it's ripping off the masks and pulling back the curtains of the reality we see around us, I enjoy it, And in an odd sort of way, it keeps me going. Now, why does it keep me going? Why does it make me keep my head up? Because, you know what? I'm a working class man. I really am, at my core. I am, descended from who I'm descended from. I love and respect my ancestors, the good, the bad, the in-between. But I also recognize, not rich. I am a man who does the best that he can and legitimately just gets up, goes to work, strives to try to juggle online classes in between the work and keep going as is, And if you're a working class man or a woman, you should honestly take pride in that. It doesn't matter what job you work. Do the best you can and lay your head down on your pillow knowing you did the best you could that day, Do some days suck? Absolutely. Do some days, make you, you're just like, I should have taken that extra shift, but, sure. But the reality is, you've woken up. You, as a working class man or woman, are the backbone of this country. Of every country, rather, but, I'm America-centric because I live in America. Now, the reality is, and the beauty of it is that it's revealing everything. It's revealing the good, the bad, the in-between. You're seeing the Biden administration have deep ties to corporations, and that's another thing I'm going to segue into. Fascism won, Put aside any nonsense about autarky or mass violence or on and on and on. And sure, those elements were there, but they were secondary to the deep reality. And we say this as, Mr. Mussolini himself said, corporazione is the merging of state and corporate power. That is precisely what we have in our hyper-capitalist country. Really? Given we have a Secretary of Defense who is, or at the very minimum, was a board member of Raytheon up until the day of he got, chosen as the Secretary of Defense. Jen Psaki has ties to Lyft and Eli Lilly and all these different corporations. This is what we have. This is what we are. I never believed in the whole conspiracy theory of, we're a corporation. At this point, I'm starting to believe it because that's precisely what we are. We are a corporation wearing the skin suit of a country, And if you don't believe me, look at how this country has treated its people, treated its working class. Every other country, from the rich to the poor to the in-between, the first world, second world, and especially the third world, have given money to their people, have paid the salary of the workers of the business that they needed to close. Our country, a $1,400 check is like pulling teeth, and even that was a lowering of a $2,000 check that was supposed to promise to originally come. So where are they keeping their promises, huh? And now with the whole kerfuffle at the border, at best it's a distraction. At worst, it's our corporate overlords trying to shut you, the American working man and woman, up by bringing in cheap labor, because they've already destabilized said countries in the Central America and in the global South via sanctions, via violence, via bombing the dog shit out of every country that, most folks can't find on a map. That's what we have. But through all that, you as a working class man or woman, you have to keep your head up. You have to. Because this country wants you demoralized. This country wants you to be, depressed. This country wants you to rush and not think about anything in the world that you have to deal with. They want you to just constantly go to the rat race, the 9-to-5 bullshit that no longer applies, the getting up to a master's degree and, getting the young people up to their neck in debt, for nothing, for things that at this point, and I hate to say it as someone who, actually enjoys college a little bit, you can learn on the internet, The reason why I'm still in college is because of our credentialist society and a promise I made to, a dead relative. At this point, that's really what's holding me together for college. But the reality is, despite all that, again, as a working man, I keep my head up. I remain confident. I do the best that I can with whatever limited resources I have. And why do I do these things? Because I have a working class to represent, right? I have a country to represent. I love my country. I just despise the current trash culture that's been brought upon us by consumerism, and I despise the people who run my country. But that does not mean I despise my country. I'm a patriotic socialist. I love my country, even if I despise the people who run it and the people who have taken it over, you know? And going back to the whole fascism bit, the right and the left are going to just talk about fascism ad nauseum, because that's the way that the right and the synthetic left, or synthetic right, synthetic left, however you want to tag it, stays in business. And believe me when I tell you, sweetheart, everything's a fucking business in this country, right? If you don't believe me, look at the manosphere, right? You've got Derek Jackson, Mr. Oh, you've got to treat your woman right. Lo and behold, you find out he's fucking around thousands and thousands of, however many women. And his wife's eyeballing him like, why did you drag me into this, conversation? And then you've just got, the recognition that MGTOW as a whole, and don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for the red pill, finding out as a young man that the reality of our capitalist society has brought upon us. But MGTOW in and of itself, let's be very honest with ourselves, is an acquiescence to our capitalist society. If you are MGTOW, congratulations, you have fallen to our capitalist system. Plain and simple. And I say this as a single, regular guy trying to, walk around with a shovel and navigate the dirt that's our current dating society, But if all you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. If all I'm seeing constantly is the garbage of human interaction, guess what? I'm going to think human interaction is garbage, It's this concept called greasing the groove, and this sense of whatever you keep pushing is what your brain is going to reformat as true, If all I'm seeing is garbage, like if you watch the news 24/7, guess what? You're going to think the entire world's out to get you and the entire world's trying to hurt you. Now, to a degree, that's true, depending on where you live, but even in the worst hovels and the worst hellholes, people can still live. People can still have a family. People can still have a life, It's not ideal, but it is what it is. So I'm going to summarize all that up with 3 points, right? Point number 1, keep your head up as a working class man or woman, because that is the minimum that you can spit in the face of our hyper-capitalist society that tries to have their boot on your neck every single time and cloak it in this false postmodernist bullshit that says, oh, nothing matters, nothing else matters, right? If everything's open to interpretation, guess what the interpretation is going to be? It's going to be the interpretation of these rich degenerates who, quite frankly, are going to just say whatever they have to keep you off, and then keep doing the garbage that they're doing because they think they're going to get away with it. They think nobody's going to stop them. But the vanguard's coming. Point number 2, be very careful of the majority of the solutions that you have. Because as we've seen with, different political leaders and different cult leaders, well, they're about the same thing, aren't they? Even the people who claim to have the solutions in reality either don't, or if they have the solutions, it's usually something that'll lead you further into the ditch. It'll make you spin your wheels more, and congratulations, you're right back where you're at, except $1,000 less because, oh, you've got to donate money to buy my book, right? Point number 3, learn as much as possible, right? Learn about history, learn about philosophy, learn about how to make money in an honest way, about as honest as you can get in our capitalist society. Learn what you can. Develop a code that you can live your life by, and live your life by that code. Because the reality is, if you have no anchor, no rudder, if you acquiesce to our capitalist society, congratulations, you're falling in the meat grinder. You're nothing more than a pawn of the capitalist system. And let's be honest, that's what the majority of these celebrities are. That's what the majority of these people who claim to have the answers are. They're pawns of our capitalist society. Let you think about that. I'll be around.